the book of Job. Book of Job, chapter 1. How many people have ever heard of Job? I'd like to title my message, I'd like you to consider. Did you hear the title of my message? That was the title of the message. I'd like you to consider. I'd like you to consider. In the book of Job, chapter 1, it says this. Sister God, you got it. In the land of Uz, sounds like the Wizard of Oz, but it's Uz, there lived a man whose name was Job. This man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 donkeys. He had a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the east. His sons used to hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays, and they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. When a period of feasting had run its course, Job would make arrangements for them to be purified. Early in the morning he would sacrifice burnt offerings for each of them, thinking, perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. This was Job's regular custom. Job wasn't only a righteous man, but he was worried about his kids all the time. He was afraid, Brother Jared, he was afraid that maybe they'd do something while they were partying or having a birthday party, and he would go out and make a sacrifice for them just in case something happened. One day the angels came to present themselves before them. I want you to get a picture of this, Brother Dakota. The Lord is in his throne, and the angels are coming around to present themselves to the Lord. And Satan came with them. Satan just pops up in the party. The angels are talking to God, and here comes Satan and says, you know what? I'd like to get a word in too. The Lord said to Satan, where have you come from? Satan answered the Lord, from roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it. What do you think he was doing? What does the Bible say that Satan does? He goes to and fro, seeking whom he may what? Devour. You know what it means to devour? Did anybody see Kamara eat the pizza? That's what devouring is like. It's like when Branson or Dakota go to eat pizza. It's like, I had a guy to work for me and I was afraid to eat around him. I'm serious. This guy would eat like 2 full meals. When he'd eat a full-size half-pound burger, he would stick half of it in his mouth at one time, and he would shake while doing it. It's like you couldn't get it in him fast enough. I was like, he was a skinny guy. But I'd actually tell people that when they come to work, I'd say, don't put your fingers around his food, because you're liable to come up nuts. I think he would eat them. That's what Satan does. He goes around and sees who he can devour, whom he can destroy. He seeks to steal, to kill, and destroy. So God says, what have you been doing, Satan? Doing what I always do. Out there looking who I can hurt, looking who I can destroy. Then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? What did I title this? I'd like you to consider. I'd like you to consider. Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. I want you to consider what I just spoke. I want you to consider Job and his situation. Do I need to put that on, or can y'all hear me? Okay. Job was a good man. Job was upright and never done any harm to anyone. Matter of fact, he wasn't just worried about himself. He was always praying for his kids. He'd go out and make sacrifices for his kids out in Wilburton. He was such a good man that, listen, he had 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he had everything. And why did he have everything? I'll tell you why he had everything. Because he put God first. But yet, in the midst of this, God says, have you ever considered Job? Now, how many of y'all, can I tell you, for the first 20 years or 25 years of my life, of my Christian walk with God, I thought it was kind of, I just never understood. I never understood why, when Satan would come and pop his head up, that God would bring up a guy that's always, matter of fact, he's this top guy. Why in the world would he throw him? You know, we call that at work, it's like being thrown under the bus. It's like, man, Job ain't done anything wrong, and you just threw him under the bus. Why'd you do that? I want you to consider. I'd like you to consider. I don't know if all of you here, maybe there's a bunch here that might not know. You youngsters, let me tell you what happened to poor old Job. Satan got loose on his family. Job that day, lost all of his children. All 7 sons, all 3 daughters. How many of y'all think it's horrific? I've had good friends that have lost children. And I think to myself, I don't know how to live through that. Job lost all of his children. And it wasn't in like some freak bus accident where they all just happened to be all in the same van or all in the same... They were in different parts of the country and doing different things. And different things would happen. Marauders came in and killed a bunch of them. Well, a freakish tornado came out of somewhere. Fire came. It's like, what in the world? Job knew. Job knew. This is no coincidence. Things like this don't just happen. And for years I wondered, why did God let this happen to a good guy? I have more than once, Brother Kerry, been in hospital rooms and had to pray over people who were good saints and had cancer. And I'm like, God, why is this happening? I don't understand this. And I've had so many times when different things, when somebody, a good person, good people, that go to church all the time and serve God, maybe something like that does happen. Their child gets killed, or the wife gets killed, or the husband gets killed, and I'm like, why did that happen? I don't understand. I'd like you to consider. I'd like you to consider that maybe God sees a bigger picture. You know, in James, in the book of James, it goes as far as saying this. Count it all joy. Brothers and sisters, count it all joy when you fall into diverse affliction. When things are going terrible, you're supposed to go, woo, I'm so glad. That sounds stupid, doesn't it? I'd like you to consider why. I'd like you to consider why God allowed this to happen to Job. I'd like you to consider why God said, listen, have you considered, what God did was he said what I said to you. I'd like you to consider Job. Chapter 2, if I had her to turn to chapter, matter of fact, if you want to turn to chapter 2. He has lost all these things. On another day, the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them to present himself before him. And the Lord said to Satan, does this not sound a lot like chapter 1? Same scenario. Where have you come from? Satan answered the Lord, from roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it, looking whom I could devour. Then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. And he still maintains his integrity. Do you understand that God is speaking this? And the day before, Job has lost all his children. He's also lost all his servants. He's also lost all of his donkeys, his cows, all those things that he had. Every time there'd be one servant left, and I alone am the only person that survived. So I guess he had 10 servants left because they were the only ones that survived, one for each kid. And the very next day, Satan pops his ugly head up. Can I tell you something? Can I let you in on a secret? Satan doesn't believe in mercy. If you holler uncle, he's going to say, well, I'm glad I got you on the rope because now I'm going in for the kill hold. If he's choking you down and he knows he can kill you, guess what? He's going to kill you. He will. Somebody asked me why he's so mean. I said, because misery likes misery. He knows he's going to hell and he don't want to go alone. It just makes him bitter. But Satan comes to God and he's doing the same thing. And God says, listen, you took his whole family, you took everything he had, and I want you to look there. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. And he still maintains his integrity. Though you incited me against him to ruin him without any reason. But Satan, what I tell you a minute ago, he's not happy by just saying, hey, I got him down, I'll walk away. I did what I wanted. Skin for skin. Satan replied, a man will give all he has for his own life. You give him cancer. You tell him he's going to die in a month. You let me touch him and make him so sick and he knows he's going to die and he'll curse you to his face. But now, stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones and he will surely curse you to your face. That's what Satan says. The Lord said to Satan, very well then, he is in your hands, but you must spare his life. You can take him to the brink of death, but you can't kill him. You can take him to the brink of death, but you can't kill him. So Satan went out and from the presence of the Lord and afflicted Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. Now can you imagine? You're in mourning, you're in weeping. This is a man that used to pray all the time for his kids, and now they're dead. This is a man that used to give sacrifices for his children because he was worried about their soul all the time, Brother Kyle, and now they're dead. So he's grieving and he's praying, he's in pain. And God says, have you considered mine? Let's consider Job. I don't know about you, but I'm like, God, this is kind of a lot to ask of anybody. How many of us out here, and I don't know why I'm preaching this tonight, but I know there's somebody sitting out there. How many of us, when it all comes down and God starts to happen, we go, God, I don't know why this is happening to me. God, I didn't deserve any of this. Sometimes we know. Amen? There's things that happen to me, Brother Gary, in life, and Sister Sharice, I know good and well. This is on me. I had something wrong with me one time, and doctors couldn't, they sent me all these specials. Well, they did a bunch of x-rays on me all over my body. Well, when they x-rayed my back and my shoulders, I hurt my shoulders real bad when I was 18. And they're messed, they just click every time I do anything. But anyways, they took all these x-rays, and guess what they found? I was all messed up. I had, you got this wrong with your shoulders. They said, you've got degenerative disc disease, and you've got this going on with your back. And I was like, I know all that. I did it to myself. I want to know what's going on that I didn't do. But here's Job. He is a perfect man, upright man, and full of integrity. He's lost his whole family, and God says, have you considered it? I want you to consider that maybe what you're going through has a purpose. I want you to consider that maybe instead of crying and whining and hollering out, and I'm not blaming you, I know it's the first nature of man that when things go wrong and when the bills don't get paid and when life is going wrong, or when the doctor says you're sick and you're hurting and you feel it. Amen? I have been there. I've been there. I don't know how many people in this room have ever been given a diagnosis that in a few days, in a week, there's time, your wife's going to have to get your clothes out of the closet because you're not going to be able to get your own clothes. And it's just going to go from there to worse. And my wife was there. I read that and I was like, God. I was like, Job, God. I've worked construction all my life. I've taken care of my family. I'm the guy that helps other people. How can you tell me that I'm not going to be able to walk and I'm not going to be able to get my own clothes out? I'm going to need help getting dressed. At 50 years old, I was like, God, what did I do? But you know what I did instead? It did break my heart. And I did start to cry because I thought, I can't be this guy. I can't be that guy that's in a wheelchair. There's people that are. I can't be that person that's blind. There's people that are. You know what I found out about our sister Beth? Velda, I never knew this. Did you know that Sister Velda's mom and dad were both blind? Completely blind. They met in a Braille Institute. And they got married. And then those two blind folks decided to have 10 children. You wonder why she's like she is? Or what like she was? Sister Velda got raised up by some folks and said, you know what? It can be done. I want you to consider that maybe what you're going through has a purpose. That maybe the things that you're going through, things are not working out. Hey! How many of y'all that are older? This is why we need the wisdom. Brother L.A., can I get you to stand up for a minute?